So I had stopped the running record after the first 4 pages just for the purpose of the video. Typically when you take a running record, you want to do more than 100 words. But for, again, the video purpose, we stopped where we're at. And after we've done the MSV, the question that we're often asked is, now what? And what typically happens is you figure out the percentage and the self-correction ratio, and you put that on the top of the paper and file it away, and they don't get used again. And that's really not the purpose of the running record, so I'm not even going to bother with the percentage, the accuracy, and the self-correction. I'm going to just dig right into analyzing what I see on this running record and how I can use that for a teaching point when the child is finished with the running record, and maybe even teaching points when the child's working in reading or other books. So these teaching points can carry over for her. The first thing that I notice is a lot of times people notice this right away is how many times she used visual. And she used that the most, more than the meaning and the structure. So right away I'm thinking, all right, this child relies a lot on the visual information. Sometimes that can be a negative, but for her, I'm going to take it as a somewhat of a positive, because what I'm noticing about her visual attempts is she is attempting to break words in pieces, which is awesome, because we don't want them letter by letter solving. We want them to break into parts. And even here, she used one big part, and it was incorrect, but she looked at the whole part. My concern would be, even with Danny, it wasn't an error, but she broke into parts. My concern would be, I might want to watch when she's breaking words into parts, that she's always looking left to right when she's breaking the words into parts, because we can see here she started with the t sound and then tried take, so it indicates that maybe wasn't going left to right, and also the bull at. So the parts are in there, but again, we might want to pay attention to her left to right scan, and also when she's writing left to right, that how she's breaking words apart in her writing. She has some good reading behaviors that indicate great processing, and that she's trying to understand the text, and that she's comprehending with the rereading and the repeats. They are happening at pretty good times, and she's repeating in phrases, the family, and got in the car. So her repeats are necessary for the comprehension piece, and they are good rereads and repeats. What I'm noticing is when she did self-correct, she was cross-checking information. So she made a visual attempt, and her second attempt she had integrated the meaning and structure to come up with solving. And same here, she had made a visual attempt, and she used the meaning to come up with the correct word. And even though she didn't come up with the correct word, she made a visual attempt, and she cross-checked trying to make it fit structurally. So she has some good habits there. So what does that mean? When they're done with the running record, you do want to go in with a teaching point. And one of my first things that I thought of when I listened to her read was this part where she said they drove and drove. And the reason I'm thinking that is because she said it and didn't hesitate to go back and self-correct or try something different, and it didn't have any meaning and it didn't fit structurally. So I am a little concerned right there that she would have lost some meaning with the story. So I may go there and ask, did that sound right? What could fit there? What would sound right? What would make sense with the story? So I could get her doing some more cross-checking, because she did lack that cross-checking at that air. And that's a little bit concerning. So I would probably circle this as my teaching point to encourage further cross-checking. You can make notes of what you're noticing about the reading up at the top. And like I said before, that's something that you would fill out later. And in my brain, I know that that was about 60 words. And looking at the amount of error, she is in the instructional range. And I could make notes about she has some good rereading. Rereading. She breaks words in parts. And she does do some cross-checking. My areas of concern, or things that maybe she neglected, would be I want to make sure, encourage left to right solving. And again, that could be at writing as well. I'd want to look back at her writing workshop to see, is she rereading and writing workshop to make sure things look right or sound right, or does she write and move along? Because she does a beautiful job of it in text. That's something that should carry over into her writing. So I would want to encourage the left to right solving, and also further cross-checking. Especially when it doesn't sound right. Because I think that is a strength for her, that she can hear in most of the cases that something didn't sound right. So I want to make sure that she's doing that more consistently for more accurate reading and also for a more accurate understanding of the text.